Usually when I'm tearing a boat apart, two things are completely different. Usually it doesn't already have Contour outfitting, and it's not 1 year old. So why am I tearing apart one of my absolute favorite boats and rebuilding it tonight? Here's your answer. This hull is just starting to oil can, and although I started babying it, it's just getting worse and worse. The reason this boat is oil canning is twofold. A, I'm super hard on my gear, especially slicey boats, and B, the outfitting that Dagger chose to put in. Even though this is Dagger Contour, it's actually the playboat kit. Now, I asked some of my friends over at Dagger why, and they said two things. A, for schools and beginners who love this boat, this makes adjusting and putting new people in very quick and easy, and changing on the fly to make them more comfortable. The second thing is it severely decreased the weight of the boat once Contour came out. However, what I've noticed is that the older Axioms, which had a solid seat track like creek boats do, have aged really well, and mine really hasn't. So what I'm going to do is update to a full creek setup in my Axiom. I know this boat's discontinued, I know the rewind's coming out, but I love this design and I'm not ready to see this thing go. So this one's got all the bells and whistles for the creek seat that used to go in the old Nomad, so like the floor trays, all the clip-in stuff. Let's see if I can make it happen. So two things here that you might not expect. First of all, this track welds in 4 places into the hull of the Axiom, so that'll have to be separated. The second one is 1 bolt hole. This goes to this disc that like rotates and locks itself into place, but then can still slide when you use the rear adjustment back there. So I'll have to figure out how I'm going to make this go back in. So even though you would think it's just like a wax on, wax off, there's actually going to be a little bit of detail to this one. First thing I'm going to do is take a pen and just mark where the front of the seat is on both sides. So that way when this is all said and done, by marking out here, I should be able to see where the new seat is relative to the old seat, and hopefully I won't have as much adjusting to do later. Hip pads remove with the 2 clips in the back, and then flip up, and then these 2 straps hold it to the backband. With that out of the way, you can start to see the differences in the seat. This track system is completely different and allows for that on-the-fly adjustability. We're going to pull the backband out of the way and loosen up this nut completely, removing it. With that nut removed from here, we can lift the seat, popping it off that stud, and then disconnect the backband. Now slide the seat forward and pop it loose. This is the mounting disc inside that holds the seat in place. By grabbing it from the bottom with a pair of vice grips, you can loosen the Allen bolt on top and completely remove this. That will free up this band and allow you to just pull the backband clean out. Backband is now out of the way, and I put that red wing nut back in place on the adjuster just so I don't lose it. Be super careful on that first turn, pulling the seat bolts out. It's a doozy. If you strip that Allen key there, that's a wrap. Now we're going to try to yank the pillars out and free everything up to break the welds on that track. First thing you need to do is remove this adjuster system. That's just removing 3 bolts, and then underneath, what pushes up is this spring. So I guess what I learned today is for all those people who are having issues with Dagger and Wavesport seats just moving themselves willy-nilly and not staying locked in because of that system, if you could stiffen up this spring or find a stiffer one, problem solved. So while we're on the topic of things I absolutely never expected, in front of the front pillar, there is one of these plastic retainer bolts they use for their front pillars. Now, the one side, the bolt side, takes a flathead screwdriver, and you're going to need an extended 1/2-inch socket to get out the other side. This is the tool I used to pop the welds on the seat track. Now, I tried to brute force it, and full disclosure, I caused some damage to the boat that I had to go back and fix. But My theory is that if you're gentle, apply heat with a torch or a heat gun to the weld and then slowly wriggle under, keeping the blade super flat, you'll be totally fine. I brute forced it, and that was really my mistake. If you're gentle, you should be totally fine. This seat is Dagger's creaker seat. What they now install would be called the River Runner when Contour was originally released. It had these tabs in the back for these gear loops to be installed, and it came with this seat pad. What it has is this knob which goes in the bottom of the seat, and then it creates these floor pockets to clip stuff in. I've never had a boat with it, so I'm excited to drop this in, but really, I wish they would bring these back. These are fantastic. This is the creak seat reinstalled. Everything just drops in. It's just a simple matter of popping it back into place. Bolt holes are lining up just fine. Everything's good. Got the extra track in. What I'm going to try and do on this one, since this hull warranty is gone anyway, is I'm going to try and see if I can make that front step-out pillar go in and ditch the foam. This is the Contour front step pillar. This one, again, was out of a Nomad 8.1. And what I'm noticing here is that there are 4 rivets that hold everything together, and then right below that are these little lines. So from looking on the inside, it looks like they can make one front pillar and then cut down to height based on the right deck height here. So if I take the pillar and drop it into place backwards, I can start to eyeball how much I need to take out, and by pulling rivets out, putting new ones in, and shimming down, I should be able to just drop this right into place. Here is the shaved down version of the pillar. Now the top just drops right back in, and drill through in new places to pop rivets in. With the rivets installed, now it's just a matter of hooking the top in and pushing down until it pops. There you go. Sure enough, cutting down to the bottom line was a perfect fit. It snaps right in. And if you look at where that riv nut is, centered on the adjustment. So right now what I'm going to do is I am going to eyeball my drill spots and permanently mount that front pillar in on both sides. To get the seat bolted back in, what you're going to do is you're going to take the brass bottom plates that came with the creaker track, screw in one bolt on both sides, and pin the seat in so the bolt's going all the way through the track on both sides. Now, with the other side facing back, take a flashlight, shove it inside the hole they drill behind the hip shims, and turn it on. When I rotate it side by side, you can see right where that track goes, and what you're aiming for is to get the light perfectly centered coming through that hole like that. That tells me that if I mark that spot with the Sharpie and drill through, I will be all set. Do that on both sides and bolt her in. Don't forget the washers like over here so you stay watertight. With the hole marked, pull the plate out of the way, put a bolt back in so that now you know the track is lined up to that spot again. Drill through with the correct size and install the plate from the underside. Even though when the original rear pillar was installed on the track, there's no thickness to this, because it had compressed over time, I was able to slide it back in without trimming. If not, I'll show you how to do that real quickly. The front foam pillar now does not need to go back in. Make sure that the foot block is in before your final install, but now we're going to look at the rear pillar. Down here you can see indented where it fit into the old track, and up here you can see the hook where it goes under the cockpit rim. So because the creak seat is taller, we're going to have to come up by a little bit, cut across, and drop back down. eyeball, mark out, go a little tighter than you have to, and test fit. Alright, so that's it. All reassembled, all back together, and I am amazed how much more stiff and rigid this boat feels. I'm super excited to get it back out in the water in a week or two.